everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my studio. And I mean that for real this time because I'm about to take you all around this place. Before we jump into it, my name is Victoria and this is my small bath and body care brand Renascential. Welcome back. And as the title suggests, as I hinted last week, we are doing my first studio tour today. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you probably know I like to keep my intros short, so we're about to jump right into it. But quick disclaimer, I've got a lot of stuff in here. I'm gonna have tons of links for you down in the description, but if there's anything that I missed that you guys really want a link for, please let me know and I'll drop it down there for you. But this might be slightly chaotic. I'm just gonna pick this camera up and we're gonna walk around the room. I'm gonna show you everything I've got. It's not that big of a space, but it definitely gets the job done. So let's go. Let's jump in. Oh, and full disclosure, I'm going to be filming this over the course of 2 days because time does not exist anymore. So if anything changes, no, it didn't. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's start with a quick overview of this entire room. Now, remember that I said it's gonna get a little chaotic. I don't have a wide angle lens yet, so you're gonna get a lot of headless Victoria in this video, but bear with me. Here's our first section. You guys have probably seen in my other vlogs, but this is where I sit when I'm doing all of my product labeling. This is where I let batches rest before I put on their closures and get them on my shelf. This is also where I package up all my orders. So yeah, this spot, well used. Let's get into these details. Down here, I like to keep my label applicator and a binder that has all of my product labels printed out and ready to go for me. I have the actual label paper somewhere else that I'll show you in just a second, but after printing them out, I organize them in this binder for easy access. Over here, I like to keep all of my logo stamps that I use for my boxes and my gift bags. You guys saw these in my last vlog. And next to that, I have my collection of body cream and body scrub samples that I give out at markets and with every order that comes in. Down here on the bottom, I have a lot of extra rolls of my custom box tape, a can of Raid because spiders. These are the actual containers that I use for my samples, and I have alcohol. And on the opposite side, I have pressure seals that I use for my 8-ounce jars and my 4-ounce jars. And I've also got shrink wraps for both sizes as well, and these I use for my body oils, and I like to wrap them around the top. I'll probably start doing this for the perfume oils too. To get those to actually shrink wrap, I have a heat gun. And the last thing I have down here is just a roll of twine, which I like to use to make my packages a little more special when I am either gifting my wholesale clients or putting together a gift package from an order on my site. Over here is where we really start to get into more of my shipping supplies and things that I use in all my boxes. First up, of course, is my roll of fragile stickers, which go on every single box. I also have these 1-inch circular stickers that I put on the tops of all my jars. I mentioned this in my vendor packing video, but I use these on the top of all my jars so that when I look into my storage containers, I can find the exact scent that I'm looking for. I have 2 sponges back here which are used to water activate my tape if I don't want to use the tape dispenser, which we'll see in a second. I also have these small circular sticky dots which probably won't come up that well on camera, but I use these to secure the sample containers to my thank you cards. I usually stick them right here in the bottom corner and then I write my customer's name in the center. And of course, just some highlighters, Sharpies, pens, and some custom stickers that I got from noissue.com. I don't really use these that often anymore, but I will sometimes throw them in with a gift package or at markets. To the right of that, I've got my shipping scale, which I'm pretty sure this measures up to, yep, 50 pounds. And then also my water activated tape dispenser with a roll of tape already loaded onto it. Directly below that, these are all just files. It's not very organized or even interesting to look at, so we'll keep this one shut. And then down here, this is one of those areas that I want to spruce up and make a bit more functional for me, but right now I do have my printer paper and then also my sheets of label paper in here. The only thing I keep on the table is my big old laser printer, my shipping label printer with some labels already fed into it, and inside the holder. Right over here next to my desk, I do have one more storage organizer, and it's kind of a catch-all, to be honest with you. In the top drawer, I have some notebooks, a paper cutter, some thank you notes that I like to use when I'm sending out gift packages as well, if we have any gift messages to include. I have extra pens. It's really not glamorous. Second drawer has everything that I need for my sterilizing and cleaning process. So these are great. I'll have everything linked below, but these are perfect for setting up some of my smaller beakers and any other containers like that. And then I also have two big silicone drying mats. I also have the Steramine or Steramine sanitizing tablets. You actually drop these into some distilled water and it creates the liquid that you need to sanitize all your equipment. And lastly, I have these cleaning brushes for some of the different containers that I use, but also just to get into the nooks and crannies of my filling machine, which you will see soon. This last drawer has all of my extra filming equipment, extra lenses, tripods, batteries, SD cards, all the fun stuff to create content for you guys. Up here on top, this is all pretty self-explanatory, but I have some highlighters, pens, ruler, extra charger. I have sticky notes, extra tabs, helpful things. These are actually all business cards that I collect from other business owners at markets, people I could stay in touch with. I have my whiteboard markers, and then on this side, tape, whiteout, USB drive, eraser, stapler, staple remover. Nothing too fun, but all really helpful. All right, and if we hop over to the other side of the room, we start to get into all of my products and ingredients. Starting off with the products, every time I make a batch of products, I end up with extras, especially of the body scrubs, but surprisingly I don't have a lot up here right now. But when I do, I end up putting them inside these jars, and then I keep these fresh and replace them. I actually end up using those for the sample containers that I make. Below that, on this side, I have all of my 8-ounce products. Over here, all of the 4-ounce. Everything is organized alphabetically, by the way. Makes me happy. So I have my 8-ounce creams, my 8-ounce oils, and then the 8-ounce scrubs are on the bottom. On this side, we got the same deal going on, the 4-ounce creams, 4-ounce oils, and 4-ounce scrubs. This top shelf is kind of a catch-all right now. There are actually some new containers up there that would give away some new products I'm working on, so I'm not going to get too close. But besides that, I also have some tester jars up there that I bring to markets or to my wholesalers locations, and then just some extra products that I use for photography. And this is really where my ingredient collection starts. So on this shelf, I have my fragrance oils and mica powders. I have shea butter, coconut oil, and all of the dried herbs that I use for my body oils. On this top shelf, I have two big containers filled with the different sugars that I use. So there's white sugar and then the turbinado sugar. I really like these containers, so these are also linked for you below. I use them, like I said, for the sugar, and also on this shelf for the emulsifier that I use. I have another emulsifier here that I'm working on. This is probably going to be the replacement for my body scrubs. I have glycerin, sodium lactate, all of my preservatives, and vitamin E on that side. And then below that, I have all of these natural plant oils, cetyl alcohol, stearic acid, jojoba oil, meadowfoam seed oil, argan oil, rice bran oil, avocado oil, and extra cetyl alcohol. And right now, this shelf actually doesn't have anything on the very bottom level, so moving right along. To the left of that storage shelf, I have all of my personal ingredients, my test ingredients when I'm working out new formulas, and also specifically on this shelf, all of the ingredients that I use for my IPCS Cosmetic Chemist course that I'm currently enrolled in. If that is news to you, it means you missed a vlog. So I'll have it linked for you here, but I am officially studying to become a cosmetic chemist through the Institute of Personal Care Science. They sent me this awesome massive box of ingredients, and during the course I need to use these to create lab samples and even send them different products that I'll be making for assessments. Once you get to the last tier of this shelf, you start to get into everything that I'm using for my actual formulation batches. So in this first container, we have some metal stirrers and spoons and things that I like to use to get different ingredients out. These are really, really helpful. I'll have a big pack of these linked for you in the description. I also keep some glass stirrers in here, which actually are all dirty at the moment, so I'm sorry I can't show you, but they're just long glass stirring rods. You probably saw them in my last vlog when I was making my perfume oils. Under that, I have 2 mixers that I use for my KitchenAid. They're both the same thing, but I do have one that has a scraper on the side. I'll have this linked for you too. If you use a KitchenAid for any of your product making, definitely get this one. It'll keep you from needing to stop and scooping down the sides of your bowls and make sure that everything's actually getting incorporated into your formulas. So I have 2 options for those, one with the scraper and one without. The last smaller container here keeps both of my immersion blender sticks, which again, one's dirty, but I do have my immersion blender linked for you below, and these are the immersion blades that come with it. I have a lot of different containers that I like to use for my product making. Sometimes beakers, sometimes these big 8-cup measuring bowls. I have normal glass bowls. There's a lot, so we'll get to it. This first container here holds some of my beakers. I have 2 containers just like this filled with beakers. So again, check the description. I have all these linked for you below. But they come in a massive range of sizes. So I have them from as small as 25 milliliters all the way up to the big boys. I got 3,000 milliliters as well. As I started making bigger batches of body cream, these have been wonderful. I'll use the 3,000 milliliter ones and I can make up to, my gosh, like 25 4-ounce jars at one time. So it's great because I can get the immersion blender all the way down in there, and they are heat proof and everything you need them to be. Next to that, I have a larger storage container, and these hold those massive 8-cup measuring bowls that I mentioned. I love to use these for my body scrubs mainly because it's kind of like half beaker, half bowl. So it makes it really easy to mix in the mass amounts of sugar that I'm using with all those different ingredients. So these are really great. Linked for you below. I like to also keep my bigger KitchenAid mixing bowls in here. Again, I used those for a batch recently, so they aren't clean, but they usually live in here as well. All right, over on this side, I have, again, more containers for product making, glass bowls, which usually have some more stacked in here. You know the drill. I use them, they're dirty, they'll be here soon. I also have a lot of stainless steel bowls. There's the one here, but then these have a lot nested underneath them. So a lot of stainless steel bowls. I use those mainly for my body oils. No direct reason why, I just kind of like these the most and I think they conduct heat really well. So love those for my heat infusions. And then on this side, I have the large pitchers that I use to pour my body oils once they're ready. I usually strain the oil into these and then use them when I'm pouring them into each bottle. I'll go pretty fast through these because I did go through all of my container sizes and their closures in my last business tips video. So make sure you check out the eco-friendly packaging. But from here down, we have my 4-ounce jars, 4-ounce caps, 4-ounce bottles, 4-ounce closures and their droppers, 8-ounce bottles with their closures and the tube that goes for the pump cap. And then on the very bottom are the 8-ounce jars and their 8-ounce cap closures. Last thing that I keep over here are the closures and the bottles for the perfume oils that I've been using, but I actually found a different manufacturer for these, so I'll have a better organization system for these too. And we've made it to the storage closet. In here, I keep all my boxes. So I have my 12 by 12 shipping boxes that I really only use for wholesale orders, of course. This would be a massive order. But hey, if you want to place an order that big, Renascential.com. Keeping with the boxes, we also have my 7 by 7 by 4, 9 by 7 by 4, and 12 by 7 by 4 box options. These are actually 2 that I've already built out and will be using for orders as they come in. Up here, I have a lot of extra packing peanuts. Again, in the sustainable packaging video, I mentioned that I get a lot of extra packing peanuts just when I order ingredients or different containers. They end up using those, so I save them and I repurpose them for my packages as well. Below that, this box actually has packing paper, which I don't want to pull any out, but It's basically just stuff like this, a lot of this craft color packing paper. I like to use the packing peanuts for my own product orders, but when I'm shipping these bigger wholesale boxes, I do like to use the packing paper because I just have way more space to fill. So again, I saved this from a lot of companies that send it to me. For example, this one has the SKS bottle and packaging sticker on the side of it because this came from an order of containers that I placed recently. I want to do a whole video for you guys on how I do my photography for social media and for my website. So I'm not going to get too into all the stuff up here, but let me know if you're interested in that and I'll get it out sooner than I'm planning to. Just let me know what you want. But everything up here is all for photography. I have different backdrops, I have different props, mirrors, and some really cool display acrylic things that I can use for my photos. So again, I'll get into this in a future video, but that is really what this whole top shelf is dedicated to. Going back to filming equipment, right here I have all of my lights that I use both for filming and for product photography. So I have a nice strobe light in the corner. I have this one with the umbrella for diffused light. Again, I'll go into way more of this stuff when I do my photography video. But above that, I do have one thing I want to share, and this is from another small business. I know a lot of people like to use a very certain kind of filling machine, and I will eventually scale up to one of those as well. But in the meantime, I found another small business owner who was selling these handmade filling machines, and I have loved using these. It's super easy to use. I haven't used it in any of my vlogs, again, because I've been making smaller batches of things lately. But when I do make my bigger batches of body cream, these are perfect. You can fill up the tank completely, and then this lever is how it ends up pushing the product out. So I'll show you guys how this works one day, but I will link to a video and to the channel of the person who created these. In this corner, I keep the rest of my shipping supplies. So I have the packing paper that I like to use. This is recyclable. I have the biodegradable packing peanuts, and then there's some crinkle paper there on the bottom that I use for gift packaging. Last thing for the storage closet, hanging on the door here, I have some hair nuts and then also a rubber apron that I will use sometimes. Coming out of the storage closet, I have my little utility cart here that keeps, again, some unglamorous but helpful things on it. So I have paper towels, pair of scissors, some plastic bags, aluminum foil, plastic wrap. On the second shelf, I have some of the different pieces that go to those filling containers I just showed you, trash bags, and extension cord. And then down on the bottom, I have another scale, a little mini mixer. This came from Lotion Crafter. I also have a microbial test kit that also came from Lotion Crafter. And I also have another hand mixer that I ended up not needing, so this really is just here as a backup in case I ever have any issues with my immersion blender. The last section that I have to show you guys is everything that I keep underneath my table for very quick access while I'm making products. So down here I have my scales. This is the House company. I want to get more from them and I need a better scale that can hold more weight. But for now, this one can hold up to 1,500 grams. Behind that, I keep a disinfectant spray and alcohol in a spray bottle so that I can fully sanitize my area before I start working. Then I have some masks on the bottom here if I'm ever working with some sensitive materials. And on top of that, I keep the gloves that I like to wear. I have two storage containers here that I'm pretty sure I got from Target, but I will check and I will have something equivalent linked for you in the description. But this one holds all of my silicone mixing spoons and spatulas that I like to use. And this one has all of the plastic pipettes that I buy from Amazon, and I use these when I'm doing my more precise measurements using oils. This is another kind of catch-all storage bin. So in here I have my two immersion blender bases. I have my infrared thermometer. I have the smaller funnels that I use for my perfume oil bottles. I also have cheesecloth that I use when I am straining my herbal body oils. And in the back I have a pH reader. I actually haven't used this yet, so I can't speak highly of it myself, but Tara Lee actually recommended this one, and I've been doing more old-fashioned pH reading, so I will be testing this out soon, see how I like it. My KitchenAid is in the back over here, and on this side I have another storage container that has the rest of the beakers inside there. These are all the same size as the other ones, but again, it goes from about 25 milliliters all the way up to 3,000. And inside this container, I have an attachment for my KitchenAid mixer, a funnel that I use when I'm filling up my body oil bottles, and then 2 attachments for my immersion blender. After melting some of my ingredients down, when I'm ready to come back in and re-weigh my ingredients, the heat of the container will sometimes be too much and it'll totally affect the read on my scale. So to combat that, I have these 2 trivets, basically the same size but different shapes, and I'll put these directly onto the scale so that there is no contact with the hot container. And then underneath these, I actually have 2 size buckets that I use when I'm doing my sanitization. Let's hop to the other side to show you those. Again, I'll have these linked for you guys below, but I do have 2 different sizes, and one will usually have the sanitization fluid inside of them, while the other will just have straight distilled water to rinse off before they sit to dry. And the last section I have to show you guys is my desk. I feel like this is also pretty straightforward, so we'll keep it quick, but I have an IKEA desk, my MacBook, mouse, monitor, phone stand, and I do have this touch lamp. You can actually adjust the brightness of the lamp just by tapping this button. And the newest addition is actually this desk pad. As you guys can see, everything else in this room is pretty much white, black, or metal. So I love that this adds a little pop of color to the room and right at my creative space. And that's it. You guys have now seen every inch of this space. So I hope you liked it and I hope you enjoyed the tour. If there's anything that you saw while you were looking around that I don't have linked for you in the description box, please let me know and I'll definitely track it down and lead you in the right direction. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming back and thank you for subscribing. Guys, we're about to cross 160. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much. You're really making somewhat of a lifelong dream of mine come true. So I can't say it enough. I am so happy to be making this content for you. That being said, you already know what I'm gonna ask, right? Like, comment, subscribe, and if you're really cool, share with a friend. But in the meantime, I'll see you guys next week for another vlog. Bye.